Did you know that some of the greatest genres of music came about from the struggle and pain of black folks, and they all influenced each other? All this and more coming up soon, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Charismatic TV, where I encourage you to submerge yourself in culture and live meaningful lives. If you're new here, welcome, hit that subscribe button, thank you. And yes, pretty much for all of February, I have been, highlighting Black contribution to Black history, you know what I'm saying? I've been finding out that we're pretty awesome people, and I'm going to continue that today by highlighting our contribution to music. La 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 la. Oh, by the way, if you didn't see last week's video, we actually focused on Black inventors, activists, and writers, so you want to go ahead and watch this video. After this one though, then you can go ahead and a link is somewhere here or in the description box. Okay, let's dive in. Starting with the blues. Wait, no, that's jazz. Anyways, you get the point. The blues developed in southern United States in the 19th century, after the American Civil War. It goes back to when slaves sang as they toiled in the tobacco and cotton fields. As the years went on, blues developed and had various different versions of it as it spread to different parts of the country. Now, what makes a blues song a blues song? Well, the first element is known as the call and response, and it's pretty self-explanatory, right? Slaves who were working in the tobacco fields didn't just use this as a way to pass the time as they were doing tedious work, but also as a way for them to communicate with each other. And thus, the pattern they often used was known as the call and response. So for example, if one slave sang, "I am on my way home," the other slaves would reply with, "I am going with you." Okay, this is just an example. Please do not judge me on my singing skills, okay, but you get the picture, right? The call and response pattern became a part of the blues song. The second thing is the lyric structure. One of the easiest way to recognize a blues song is the pattern of the lyrics or words. You'll often hear 3 lines of rhyming lyrics, typically expressing strong emotions. The third element is the blues scale, and the third is the blues chord progression. Fun fact, did you know that the first recordings of blues were made in the 1920s by Black women such as Ma Rainey, Mamie Smith, and Bessie Smith? These performers were primarily stage singers backed by jazz bands. Their style is known as classic blues. Also, if you want to know a bit more about Ma Rainey, there is a movie released on Netflix starring Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman if you want to check it out. This segment was brought to you by The Sweet Tooth Vegan, a baking service specializing in deliciously handmade vegan treats, and they're also a podcast dedicated to fostering genuine connections within the plant-based community. And check this out, every month they release a new variety box with different treats selected by you. Visit their website at www.thesweettoothvegan.com, or you can connect with them on Instagram at thesweettoothvegan. Now back to the video. Rock and roll! Little Charles once said, "The blues had an illegitimate baby and called it rock and roll." Rock and roll originated in the 1950s. It is said that no one person actually started rock and roll, and although Elvis Presley is known as the king of rock and roll, credit must be given to Sister Rosetta Tharpe, originator of pop gospel and the godmother of rock and roll. As a matter of fact, Presley himself never claimed to have invented rock and roll, although he was able to popularize it. He always talked about how much he was influenced by Black gospel music and the blues, which he listened to on the radio while growing up in Mississippi. Sister Rosetta was the first great recording star of gospel music and among the first gospel musicians to appeal to rhythm and blues and rock and roll audiences. Hip hop, hippity hop, hip hop, hippity hop.
In August 1973, a young Jamaican-born New Yorker known as DJ Kool Herc threw a party in the South Bronx. With a pair of turntables, he improvised a technique that isolated and repeated musical breaks That technique would lay the foundation for a genre known as hip-hop.
Hip-hop has a very detailed history, and a lot of it can be found on YouTube and also Netflix. But for the most part, one thing I want to highlight is that the components of hip-hop often included MCing, DJing, graffiti, and breakdancing. It is no question that hip-hop has grown to be one of the most influential and popular genres of music around the world. Soca! Now, whenever people hear soca, you automatically think of two things: Trinidad and Tobago and Carnival. Now, sadly, we had to cancel Carnival this year for obvious reasons, but it is important for us to recognize that before there was the Kes, the Allison Hines, the Machel Montano, and all those different people, there was the person who's responsible for this genre of music today, Lord Shorty. Soca stands for Soul of Calypso, and it was pretty much invented in the 1970s by Trinidadian artist Lord Shorty, who claimed that the soul of Calypso was as multicultural as his island's African and East Indian descendants. Today, soca music has become very popular all over the Caribbean, and you can see this as different countries are now having their own soca artists. Now, I couldn't do this video without recognizing Kompa music, all the way from Haiti. Kompa was created by Numa Jean-Baptiste in 1955. Honestly, the easiest way for me to describe it is that it's like merengue, but it has African roots in it in terms of like the drumming, and it also incorporates a lot of like brass instruments. It is believed that the music became popular because of its ability to enable improvisation, not only by musicians but also by the dancers. While dancing, they can feel the change in the rhythm and all those different things, and they can adapt that feeling into the dance that they're doing. Which, by the way, Kompa dance is also a thing, but we'll touch on that a bit later. Now, for the dance, just like any other ballroom dance, it's in pairs, and both partners are holding each other very closely, romantically, and I've noticed that a lot of the movement is really in the hip. I'll put the clip here for you to see what I'm talking about. Everybody say reggae music, reggae music, reggae. Okay, I'll stop. Reggae music. Did you know that Bob Marley actually did not invent reggae music, but was more of a very popular reggae musician? Yes, it's true. Reggae music was actually started in the late 1960s, and it's believed to come from the term reggae, which means rags or ragged clothes. Reggae is an evolution of ska and rocksteady musical styles, and is also strongly influenced by traditional Caribbean, Mento, and Calypso music, as well as American jazz and rhythm and blues. Totes and Metal are credited for reggae being recognized as a different style of music from ska and rocksteady music, with their first recording, 5446 Was My Number. Unlike Bob Marley and the Wailers, the music of the Martels, it was very apolitical, more upbeat, and more of joyous singing. If you know anything about Bob Marley, you'll know that a lot of his music had to do with talking about the injustices, how people should rise up and get themselves out of oppression and different things like that, which I believe is probably one of the reasons why he became very popular in the genre of reggae music. That does make a lot of sense. Yep. One thing to note is that Jamaican musician Jimmy Cliff, he starred in a movie called The Harder They Come, which featured a soundtrack of only reggae music. And this is said to have paved the way for putting reggae music on the map, as the film also documented how the music became the voice for the poor and oppressed. As reggae music developed, a connection grew between the music and the Rastafarian movement through Bob Marley, whose music was greatly embraced all over the world. Reggae music continues to live on through popular artists like Chronix, Protege, and Cafe Toast. So we are coming with a force. You know the rest. Sing it with me. Sing it with me. When I rise and alright, back to the news report. Last but not least, coming all the way from Africa, we have Afrobeat. I'm emphasizing that T because apparently there's Afrobeats with the S and Afrobeat, and Afrobeat is actually the genre. And the creator of Afrobeat is Fela Kuti. Afrobeat is an African genre of music combining traditional Yoruba and Afro-Cuban music with funk and jazz. Wow. A lot of mix-up in. I will put a clip here for you to see exactly what Afrobeat is, because I believe that as I'm saying Afrobeat, what you guys are thinking about is this.
Ginger.
And that's not what I'm talking about. Of course, there are many more genres of music that were made by black people or influenced by black people. So if you know of any, please comment below, let me know. If you like this video, you know what to do. You hit that subscribe button, make sure you're updated every time I upload a new video. And if there's anything I have noticed in doing research for this video is that we are all influenced in some way by each other, because just looking at everything that I presented on today, you'll see that jazz and blues and reggae, like, they literally influenced each other to become what they are today. Don't forget to do road and do things, and until next time, Maggie is out.